photographs.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been like, mate, all my life is I've never dismissed things that I can't know absolutely are not true. I have this policy. I put things on the back burner and I see what comes. And if more information comes to support it, there comes a point where there's so much information supporting that it crosses the line, and you start to say, okay, I accept this is what's happening. But I don't just dismiss things, and never have, on the basis that they're different, just being the way I've always been.
Was that the start of your journey then, going to this woman and everything, like awakening, a spiritual awakening?
Yes, it was. And one of the things was that it was going to be tough, and so when I left her house and got on with my life, very, very quickly, synchronicity, coincidences started to occur, where I'd meet people, come across information, come across books, come across documents, whatever, that were starting to hand me puzzle pieces. And I started to realize, as it built up and it built up and it built up, that actually the world was not like I thought it was. Well, not like I thought it was. I didn't really have a view on that.
Do you think you were just brainwashed it and didn't really understand?
I never did believe that politicians around the world. I always felt there was something else, but you didn't know what it was. Now I was beginning to understand what it was and how it works. Yeah. And another thing that happened is that I would get just a knowing that this is how, I think this is what's going on here. And then what would follow would be names, dates, places, hard factual information that would support that view, which kind of connects with, we will put knowledge into his mind. And this has gone on now for 30 years, and it's gone through different phases of information. And it's taken me down an extraordinary road of uncovering the world as it is, behind the facade of what we're told it is. And of course, it's taken me into realms of enormous ridicule and enormous abuse. But we come back to the greatest gift often that you are ever given is your worst nightmare, or what appears to be. So if we go back to the Wogan show, because what happened eventually is I went on the Wogan show and talked about what was happening to me. And at that time, I was right in that period of the Wogan show, it was a period of about 3 months, I was going through an enormous transformation of
that you didn't
perception
understand.
that I didn't understand. No, because this is what happened. Just very, very, very briefly, is that I suddenly got this feeling I needed to go to Peru. I didn't know why. I'd never been there. I watched them play in the World Cup a few times, but I didn't know anything about it. And long story short, I ended up in Peru, and a series of enormously amazing things happened to me. And it culminated at a place called Siustani, which is near a place called Puno, near Lake Titicaca, highest navigable lake in the world, they say, about 13,000 feet. And I ended up, in a series of synchronicities again, at this so-called Inca site called Siustani, which is old Inca ruins on a hill, and there's a lake and mountains right out in the middle of nowhere. And I went and I looked around it, and then I'd hired this taxi and this guide who came with me, and we're driving away from Siustani, and I'm just daydreaming, which I do all the time, daydreaming out the window, sort of mind wandering, and I'm looking at this hill as we're coming towards it. And as I looked at this hill, all I could hear in my head was, "Come to me, come to me, come to me." And I'm thinking, I was introducing the snooker not long ago, actually, and now this frickin' hill's talking to me. It's like, it's what's going on. Steve Davis, Jimmy White, all is forgiven. And so I asked the guy to stop. I said, "I won't be a minute, I'm going up that hill." And I walked up the hill, and I didn't know where I was going or why. And there's this all these kind of stones. It's kind of kind of circle like of stones, and I walked into the middle, and it's beautiful, and there's not a cloud in the sky. It's a pure blue Peruvian sky, piercing sun, red nose to prove it. And I stood there, and what happened to me then happened to me. I cover this bit in the news shop in Ryde, where I'm standing there, and suddenly I feel like my feet are being pulled to the ground, and like magnetically, and I'm feeling like a drill in the top of my head, and the atmosphere changed again. Only this was much more powerful than the news shop, and I heard this again very strong thought form go through my mind, which said, first of all, they'll be talking about this 100 years from now. What? And then, which seemed absolutely crazy given the sky and the sun and it will be over when you feel the rain, right? And then what happened is my arms went out like that without me making any decision to do that. And then this energy got more and more powerful. And in the end, my body's shaking. And what was happening, it's like when you're driving a car and you can't remember the last mile. Your subconscious has been driving the car, thank goodness. I kept coming back to some kind of consciousness and then going back somewhere else. And as I came back to consciousness at one point, my conscious mind, I noticed that over the far distant mountains, there was a light grey mist. And I'm watching it, and it's getting darker, and it's getting darker faster. And I think, it's frickin' raining. And then over not very long, the whole thing took maybe, I don't know, an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. This storm came out of the, I mean, you couldn't make it up. If you put this on a movie, they'd say, oh, come on. It happened. This storm is coming towards me. And you know, weather people talk about a front.
Yeah.
Well, this is a front. It's a straight bloody line. I'm looking up. It's literally out of some crazy movie. And it's stair rod rain. It's not just raining, it's stair rod rain. And it's coming towards me. And I'm standing there. And I'm seeing this wall of water coming towards me. It's like something out of bloody Moses. The frickin' Red Sea. And by this time, my body's shaking like crazy with this energy coming through me. And then the water hit me. I'm immediately drenched because it's stair rod rain. And bang, the energy stopped. And I staggered forward like Bambi because my legs were gone. And there's energy pouring out my feet and pouring out my hands. And it's still pouring out of my feet. I couldn't sleep that night because of it. And something changed. People could imagine, you lived your life in a bubble, literally a bubble of information, a bubble of perception, and someone's come along without any warning and popped the bloody thing. And suddenly everything that was outside the bubble was pouring in. So my mind is absolutely awash with information, concepts, insights. What the hell's going on? It was just a chaotic mass of information and thought and everything. And in that period, it lasted about 3 months. If you'd have asked me my name, I'd have checked. And it was in that period, in my turquoise shell suit, that I went on to the Wogan show, and everything that happened. And after about 3 months, after all the ridicule and all the newspapers and all that stuff, basically, you know when you press too many keys on a computer and the computer freezes?
Mm-hmm.